Hello and welcome to another episode of Her Helping Habit on Air. We are a Canadian fertility agency specializing in known egg donation, embryo donation, and surrogacy, helping intended parents, surrogates, and donors navigate their journeys through education, support, and advocacy. Through open conversations and shared experiences, we aim to empower everyone involved in the family building process. Her Helping Habit on Air does not provide medical advice. These are simply lived experiences shared to help make the often uncharted world of infertility feel a little less scary.
My name is Ivy Sauter. I am one of the Her Helping Habit support workers, as well as a birth and postpartum doula and a retired known egg donor through Her Helping Habit. So what is egg donation? Egg donation is a generous and life-changing gift. During today's session, you'll learn about the process, requirements, risks, and rewards of becoming an egg donor. Her Helping Habit is Canada's first known egg donor agency and has quickly expanded globally. So why donate? The most common reason that people decide to become an egg donor is because it's rewarding helping people. But another great reason is to learn more about your own genetics and fertility. Through your egg donation cycle, you'll receive genetic and hormone testing completely free, which is a wonderful way to provide you with information about your health. Another good reason is financial reimbursement. Now, in Canada, egg donors can't be directly paid for eggs. However, it can be reimbursed for any related expenses. This typically includes lost wages for you and your travel companion, phone and internet bills, child or pet care while you're traveling, lawn care while you're traveling, maybe even special groceries. Another good reason is that you get to travel to another city, province, or even country completely free. You have a whole separate budget provided through our agency to provide you with flights for you and your companion, hotels or other accommodations, mileage, and gas to be paid for. Another fantastic reason is you get to form a very unique and transparent relationship through known egg donations. As a known donor, you have the opportunity to develop a unique, lifelong relationship with your recipients and donor offspring. This can be a great source of joy for both you and the donor family. This type of relationship isn't required, but we do ask that at a minimum, you be open to contact in the future from any children born of your egg donations when they turn 18. So what are the requirements to become an egg donor? We require that you be between the ages of 21 and 34 years old. You must be in excellent physical and mental health and have no reproductive disorders or abnormalities. Be a non-nicotine user and non-drug user for at least 3 months prior to applying. Not currently be on the Depo-Provera or Nexplanon shot for birth control for at least 3 months prior to applying. Willing to undergo a criminal background check if requested. Adhere to all protocols, medication, appointments, lifestyle, and communication between all parties. And commit to donating as a known donor. So what's the egg donation process look like? Step 1 is to connect with us. Send us an application. Step 2 is to connect with your recipients. Step 3, begin medical consultations. Step 4, clinic counseling. Step 5, complete legal agreements. Step 6, your donation cycle begins. And step 7, retrieval of eggs and creation of embryos. Okay, so we're going to go through these steps together one by one. So the first step is connecting with us. The first thing you're going to do is submit an application from our website. The egg donor application has some basic get-to-know-you questions and a brief health history. This allows us to confirm that you are eligible as an egg donor. You will then receive an email from us with access to your portal, where you schedule a video consultation with one of our case managers. The consultation is a no-obligation opportunity for you to ask all your questions and learn in more detail all the ins and outs of the egg donation process. After your consultation, you can get started on your donor profile. Your profile is essentially a much more detailed version of your application. There will be lots more get-to-know-you questions, a more detailed health history, as well as a section for you to upload photos from childhood to present so that our families can see. Step 2, connect with your recipients. When intended parents see your profile in our database and decide that they'd like to know more about you, they will ask to arrange a video call with you, and one of our case managers will sit in on this call to help facilitate conversation and answer questions. This is your opportunity to ask all your questions and learn about the intended parents. You will also discuss things like how much contact you're comfortable with and whether or not you would like updates. The idea of this is just to figure out if you and the intended parents are a good fit. If the meeting goes well and all parties want to move forward, then we'll consider you matched. The egg donation process involves a thorough screening process to ensure that you're a suitable candidate. This includes a medical exam, genetic testing, and psychological evaluation. So what's included in a screening appointment? First, lots of blood work. They'll measure hormone levels and do an STI panel. You'll also have an internal ultrasound done, and there's a possibility that the fertility clinic would like to do an external ultrasound as well. You'll also do a urine test, which is a drug screen, and an STI panel. It's very important that you pass your drug screen, and an oral swab. This is a genetic test. It's important to note that the clinic may also perform a pap test if you've never had one or if you're due for an updated test. Once we get your screening results, we move on to step 4, clinic counseling. This appointment aims to ensure that you are well prepared for the potential outcomes and risks of egg donation. You will be psychologically screened in person or via phone by a social worker or psychologist. The aim of this meeting is to ensure that you are well educated about the egg donation process and that you have a good support system around you. Okay, so what are the risks to egg donation? The hormone injections used for follicle stimulation can have a wide range of side effects, including bloating, mood swings, nausea, headaches, hot flashes, constipation, and ovarian hyperstimulation syndrome, or OHSS. OHSS occurs as fluid leaks out of the ovaries and collects into the free space of the abdomen. This condition can cause pain and bloating. In rare cases, individuals may need to be hospitalized for treatment. It's important to note that OHSS is highly treatable and is almost always preventable. This is why we monitor you very closely during your egg donation process to make sure that we keep you in a lower risk category. We can do this by adjusting dosages of medications and triggering you sooner rather than later if hormone levels are too high. Additional egg donation risks to consider. The actual egg retrieval process is a minor surgical procedure, and it carries a slight risk of complications such as infection and bleeding. If the donor is sexually active, she has a higher chance of becoming pregnant throughout her egg donation cycle. Some egg donors have feelings of regret over not knowing a child who is genetically related to them, which is why we only do known donations. So, step 5, complete legal agreements. So what's included in the legal agreement? Some basics that we go over are parental rights, reimbursement, future contact, responsibilities, and excess embryos. So, in terms of parental rights, you as the egg donor will be signing away your legal right to the child, meaning that you cannot claim the child as your own later. The intended parents will also be signing documents that prevent them from coming after you for child support or other care. Reimbursement. As previously stated, a first-time egg donor typically receives between $4,500 and $6,500. The number that's agreed between the two of you will be laid out in your legal agreement. Future contact. Future contact can look very different depending on the relationship between intended parent and donor. Some donors would like to be very involved, and some just want to know if a baby was born, and that's all, and that's fine. It's important, however, to state your wishes here and make sure that you are both on board and feel comfortable with the level of contact preferred. The future contact section is a little bit more of a guideline so that everyone is aware of how comfortable you are, but is open to change over time. The best relationships with intended parents and donors tend to develop naturally over time. So you may say you only want to know if the baby's born and see a picture, and within a year, maybe you get a monthly picture, and that's just how it works out. So it's important to kind of be open to let the relationship flow naturally. However, if you're very specific about something you'd like, it's important to include it in your contract. Responsibilities of the egg donor, as well as the intended parents, are laid out clearly in the legal agreement. Now, for the egg donor, your responsibilities typically include your responsibility to take medications on time, to avoid certain substances throughout your egg donation process, to attend all clinic appointments, keep intended parents and fertility clinics, as well as our agency, up to date on any new information, as well as in the future, if you develop any health conditions that may be passed on to the child, you legally have to update the parents. The parents as well are legally required to update you if the child develops any health conditions so that you're aware if you plan to have children in the future. Lastly is excess embryos. So there are typically three options with excess embryos. If the intended parents that you did your egg donation for have now had their children and they don't want any more, but they have remaining embryos, there are three options. One is to find another family to donate the embryos to. So if this is your preference, it's important to state it. The other two options are that they be donated to research or destroyed. If you don't care one way or another, that's perfectly fine. If you have a preference, please lay it out. Another thing to keep in mind is if you would like them to be donated to another family and the intended parents agree, you have a right to be involved in a legal contract with the new family, as that is your genetics being passed on the same way as this egg donation. Your legal agreement can be passed back and forth between you and the intended parents as many times as required until everyone is comfortable with the agreement. Don't worry, Her Helping Habit will provide you with a lawyer, and it will be paid for through the egg donation, not by you as the donor. Okay, so step 6, medication starts and your donation cycle begins. The first thing here is birth control. Not all, but lots of fertility clinics will put you on birth control for a week or two before the start of your hormone medications. This allows them to plan for the start of your period much more effectively and allow our agency to plan for flights and hotels accordingly. Once your menstrual cycle begins, you will have a monitoring appointment, which includes an ultrasound and a blood test on day 3 of your menstrual period. The blood test and ultrasound give a base level before starting hormone medications and make sure that your body is prepared to start meds. If all looks well, your fertility clinic will give you instructions to begin your injections. Once you're instructed to start medications, you will typically be taking 1 to 2 injections for the first week or so, and then introducing a second or third injection for the remaining days. Throughout your medication cycle, you will continue to have your monitoring appointments every other day until retrieval. These monitoring appointments will include a blood test and an internal ultrasound to measure the follicles as they grow and monitor your hormone levels. If it looks like your hormone levels are too high, we can trigger you early or adjust medications accordingly. On average, about 9 to 12 days after starting your hormone medications, you'll be instructed to take a trigger shot. The trigger shot can be 1 or 2 injections to trigger your ovulation. This medication is specifically very time sensitive. If your clinic instructs that you take the medication at 10:30 p.m., you need to take it at 10:30 p.m. Your retrieval will be scheduled exactly 36 hours after taking your trigger shot. Okay, step 7, retrieval day. On the day of your retrieval, you should arrive at your appointment at least 15 to 20 minutes before your scheduled time. You'll be taken into a pre-op room where you will change into a gown and have an IV inserted. When it's time for the retrieval, you'll be brought into the procedure room and the retrieval will be done under conscious sedation. The egg retrieval is done using an ultrasound probe and a suction needle. Both will enter the vaginal canal, and using the ultrasound probe to guide the needle, they will puncture once at the top of the vaginal canal directly into each of your ovaries and suction out the mature follicles. This whole process only takes about 15 to 20 minutes, and then you'll be returned to the recovery room. Once in the recovery room, you'll be provided with snacks and something to drink. There you will have the IV removed, and when you feel ready, you'll be allowed to leave. Now, it's important to note that on the day of your retrieval, you must have a companion to come with you to the appointment and bring you home. They will ideally stay with you for the next 24 hours to monitor you and help you during the initial recovery. If no one can accompany you, someone from our team will. All right. Thank you very much for joining me today.
If you'd like to connect with us or have questions about known egg donation, embryo donation, surrogacy, becoming a parent, or exploring whether becoming a surrogate or donor is right for you, you can find us online at Her Helping Habit or email us at info@herhelpinghabit.com. We're passionate about educating and supporting all parties throughout the journey, and you can also book a free consultation with one of our coordinators directly through our website. Thanks for listening, and we'll talk to you again soon on the next episode of Her Helping Habit on Air. Thank you.